Get to making with jive or station. When it hits you, yes, indeed, yes, yes, you shall. When it hits you, yes, indeed, yes, yes, yes. When it hits you, yes, indeed, yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Oh, she's running. The Bougie Duchess here. How's it going? With my girl Alejandra sitting in the background there. She's waving at you. I'm not quite sure how much of this we caught, but I'm trying to open the page. Open the page. The page is not open. Anyway, let's see. Comment moderation, not set, followers slow, discussion, restricted, nothing of that nature. Anyway, so here we are in my kitchen. Welcome to my kitchen. I've got the pot on. It's getting ready to blow its lid, much like myself. It's metaphorically, my therapy appointment got canceled today. What a bitch. Life will go on. Let's see, do we have enough lighting going on here? Let me go ahead. Brighten the world. And the teapot is getting ready to scream. And I have not finished preparing all the stuff that I need for my tea. So I usually add some extra stuff to it. So, excuse me?
King Samra? Wow.
Wow, yes. Okay, so I'm adding a little bit of spearmint. I add it to my little tea ball here. I have a tea ball that I add some stuff into it, some spearmint. And then let me grab, and I actually, what do we have here? That's a chamomile, something to soothe my nerves while I'm going through what I'm going through. Okay, so let me go ahead and cut this string off, and I will stuff this down into the ball, and then I feel the ball. Now, one of the things that I've done to this particular ball is because the COVID thing kind of cut me off from my from what I've always known to be my support network. I dangle a chip, and I got this chip in my 9th year of recovery. So, and then I put this inside my little teapot. Okay, you can stop screaming, because she'll just keep screaming the entire time. Alright, now I need a little pot holder. I flip her up, and I start throwing some water in here, and I let this steep for a little bit. Okay, there we go. There we go. I may even share a glass of this with Alejandra, because I'm trying to be a big advocate of tea. I'm also a big advocate of coffee. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. So we're going to put the teapot right here so that it steeps a little bit, and we'll get back to it in just a second. So, and then I'll clean up the mess in just a little bit. Don't you worry about it. I made it, I'll clean it, okay? Okay. So therapy got canceled on me, and there's a lot going on in my world, and I'm in between jobs. It's a money thing. So finances are really funny with me right at the moment, and so of course, many of you know I've got a YouTube channel, and I've been trying to develop the YouTube channel and trying to bring it to market. And one of the things that I've done is I started a Patreon account. And so one of the things that I'm having to start putting into play and to think about is what it is I would like to market to my audience. And you know, there's a lot of things that I can market to my audience because I am an artist and a designer and create products that I could easily sell. I am having to think about going into production that way. You guys being my audience, I would love to know what it is that you might like to see me do. That might be an idea. I love ideas. I love ideas. So anyway, life is getting a little rough. I think this is what life is. You know, life is always rough. And so one of the things that I've been faced with here lately, and see, I'm unable to. I would like to be able to post these pictures that I have. So another one of the when I got clean and sober, I lived at a house that was run by a treatment center that where I get my therapy at. So I'm sitting in a situation where up until last week, 4 of the roommates that I lived with at this treatment center had passed away. So there was room for 8 women in the house that I lived in. And so the numbers after 10 years of who will survive a drug addiction, at least in this house, it was 50%. And last week that number changed. Another one of my roommates that lived in the house with me passed away. And see, that weighs heavily on me. I have a hard time dealing with the fact of how fatal a drug addiction and the disease of addiction is to an individual. Just on an individual level, it's a great struggle. But now, if you compound that struggle with femininity, okay, and I'm just talking about just women in general have a harder time recovering from a drug addiction because so much of a burden is placed on them while they're trying to recover from a drug addiction. Some of them are single mothers, some of them have lost their children. This compounds their ability to stay clean and sober even for a greater length of time. Then there is another segment of this population that struggles with recovery. And I'm still talking under the umbrella of femininity, you know, because I think that this is a very big umbrella, this umbrella of femininity. And you have a transgender population. And by transgender, you know, we're talking about a gender dysphoria and a population that the reason, quite possibly, just a possibility, a theory of mine, that the reason for their drug addiction might stem from their gender dysphoria. That compounds the issue of recovery. So for the transgender woman, and I'm just, you know, speaking on that level, 3 of the women that I lived with at this treatment center in the house that I lived in did not survive their drug addiction. 2 are biological females, 3 were transgendered females. For me to absorb that, see, I used to tutor in statistics. When I worked at Pierce College. When I worked at Pierce College, numbers became very, very important. And how we process those numbers and how we collect that data and we absorb that data. Now, mind you, I'm collecting and absorbing that data as a human being, not scientifically, but as a human being. The way that I'm collecting and absorbing this particular data. Hi, Bobby. How are you doing? Let me give a shout out to my audience. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Lilac. Hi, King. How are you doing? But the way that I'm absorbing this data is giving me a hard time dealing with my situation. Yeah. So let's see. Collective talk on panels, workshops with us. We get paid for these and would love to have you join with our experience. I would love to do that. Let me put a love there. Hold on. I will private message you my phone number so that we can talk after the video. That sounds like a win-win thing situation for me. Anyway, so I'm absorbing, since this death happened recently, let's see how the tea is doing. Remember, this segment is called Hot Tea, and I have my little teapot here, and we're steeping the tea, and I have my little tea ball here. You know, and I make all kinds of teas, but this one is a spearmint berry tea. So, and I'm jumbling it around a little bit. I like to stir it with but I love this. I love this. And I'm a big fan of tea. Okay. I don't have sugar. I have stevia. Thank you. One tablespoon. The big tablespoon of stevia. Because I like things sweet. I want life to be sweet. See? So, anyway, so, you know, I'm having a hard time processing this. For me, it feels like a personal injury that's going on in my world. And, thank you. I appreciate that. Now, I don't drink my hot tea the British way, which would be with a little bit of cream. I drink it just... It is funny how I hated math class, but, and you know, I think that's God's twisted little way of playing a joke on me. You know what? I try not to fight fate too much. You know, sometimes, and I'm grateful, you know, I try and take into consideration, because I look at these, all of these women that passed away were younger than me. And by no means did they have the kind of life, or were they involved in the kind of drug addiction that I was involved in. Oh, look at that. And it smells delicious. I have an extra cup if you want. Come on by. I really shouldn't say that. I should be careful about that, because sometimes I have the other kind of fan that I may not want to come by. They're always sending nude pictures to me in Messenger. Me and Alejandra have been taken aghast by some of it. It's just, you know, a good distraction from time to time, you know. But anyway, so, you know, it's been really hard for me to process that. And I'm trying to organize my thoughts and you know, figure out, I know that I don't like the way that I'm feeling right now. I'm not quite sure if I'm processing survivor's guilt, because these ladies were younger than me. I think that they had the possibility of a brighter future than I. You know, the fact that I'm thriving and surviving and that life is good for me at the moment, even though I'm working freelance and and still the bills are paid. Obviously, the electric is on, the internet is on, um, the phones still work. I'm grateful for that. It is just a wonderful situation in the scheme of things. Um, but I have this, you know, rough rough patch of negotiating why I live and they are not with us anymore. So for me, that's a hard little thing, and I and I deal with I'm separated from my support network, which is these meetings that I've been doing for such a long time. So I'm trying to figure out how I can do all of that and still stay happy. So I'm going to send Lilac my number because I would love to join the Los Angeles Spoonie Collective and talk on the panels. I'm not quite sure what does that mean, but sending you my number. There we go. Sent that out to you just now. So I'm always trying to network and do something. Hopefully that will create a better situation. Oh, that tastes delicious. It really does. So anyway, I'm feeling a little bit better now that I've sipped on the tea. And I think there were other things that I wanted to talk about. Alejandra has disappeared on me. I can't remember some of these topics. I start sipping on the tea and all of a sudden everything is a little bit better. Oh, I do remember what I wanted to talk about. So, one of the young ladies that did pass away that lived in the house when we both moved out of the house, we actually lived next door to each other. She was in the apartment next door to me, and I have a difficult time because every time I walk Bo, I walk past her apartment building, and I look over at the apartment building, and and I talk, because I'm crazy, and I let her know that I miss you. And the real hard thing about her particular situation in my life was she was my very first sponsee, and I have a hard time thinking that maybe I could have said something. Maybe I could have, I really did, go an extra distance. I know now. My brain tells me her decisions, her actions, the way she functioned, all of that was on her. Not my fault, not my responsibility. My brain is clear about that particular fact. However, in my recovery, in my sobriety, in my new way of living, this heart that beats inside of me, that cares, that looks at people on a deeper level, can't help but say, you didn't give it your all. And I have a hard time negotiating with what my brain tells me against what my emotions are trying to tell me. And I'm sensitive that way. Many of you probably have a hard time believing that I could be sensitive in any way, shape, or form. because on the exterior, I put up this brick wall. I really do. And I make sure that I'm protected. And you should see on my front door when I got the pupper, I installed a gated door. I didn't install that gated door to keep people out. I installed that gated door to protect him from biting somebody. Because see, I don't want the sheriff's department showing up here. See, this is where my brain took action. I don't want the sheriff's department showing up here and telling me that my dog bit somebody and they take my dog from me and put my dog down. See, in my world, I can't allow that action to manifest and happen. For the first 2 years, when Bo would go for a walk, we have these muzzles. So he was wearing a face mask long before anybody else was wearing a face mask. So I would put this muzzle on Bo, and all that you would see would be his little nose. So just in case he lunged at somebody out there on the street, you know, and they would try and say that my dog bit them, I would take it to court, because there is no way on God's green earth I'm letting them put my baby down and put him to sleep. That's my heart. That's my heart. My heart is speaking to me in a way that protects him, and my brain concurs and says, well, then you must take steps. You must take measures to protect this individual. So I have a control issue that obviously, thank God, I'm allowed to go overboard when it comes to my dog. But another living human being is a different matter. It is another different matter. And so it's been a bit of a rough week. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in to What's the Tea? It's going to be the new playlist. I don't know how often I'm going to do What's the Tea. I think it's going to be something that I take into consideration when I have those moments, and that I really need to reach out. And I want to thank you guys for being here, and thank you. Bougie Duchess.